Hello, YouTube. This is Problematic Boy with another build. That's right, I rerolled already. Let me talk about my conclusions to the Ignite build first. The regular Rehan Ignite build on Anger. I think that, the other bad ailment Bleed, it sort of can be, with a little bit more gear, be a very efficient and good T7 farmer. Um, I was doing T7s. I would need more gear to do T7 Watchers or something like that than the gear I showed in the video. You would need like a good hammer, but if you had a good hammer with like +5 main, and the basic knight and the elemental damage, all the right stats, you can definitely get going good with that in T7. But T8 is going to be, to make it an efficient farmer in T8, it's going to either take a hell of a ton of gear, or it's just going to take, it's hard to scale at that level. So what did I do? Someone mentioned the other new Rehan hero trait, and I wanted to try it out. Originally, I was going to try Seething. It's called Seething. Yeah, Seething Spirit. And I was going to try it out with the Ignite build to see how good it would be. I ended up deviating from that and just making a different build, a strength stacking build. So I'm going to first just go into a map. It's a Flame Slash strength stack build. I'm going to go into a quick T7 like I normally do with these videos. I say quick, but, people can agree or disagree. It's just going to be me leaping around and killing things. And then I'll do an overview of, because a lot of people don't know what it does, I'll do an overview of that. The pros and cons that I think it offers. And yeah, it sounds pretty good. And the current gear I'm using and stuff like that. It shouldn't be too much surprising stuff. My gear is fairly, it's fairly cheap right now. I didn't really spend too much other than on the crafting. I probably spent the most on embers to get what there's a shrine I'm not going to do. To get, what am I trying to say? My one axe crafted. And, I'm using a mace right now because I was doing demolisher stuff, and I was eventually going to do a technique ember. But then I realized axes are probably just going to be better because I'm using Flame Slash. And I'm not using Hammer of Ash like I was. Excuse me. So we're just running through here. I'm not even Warcrying. Yeah, I guess I could Warcry. I can Bull's Rage as well, if I run into anything that would hurt me. Now, you probably should use your Resurrection Warcry off cooldown, because it's a good amount of DR, and we're not stacking Tenacity. I'll talk about... I've looked at a lot of other people's builds that are in the hero ranking, and I think they're building it pretty much wrongly. There's like a very common way of building that I think is incorrect. So I'll talk about that a little bit and why I'm doing what I'm doing with my talents. And we'll do the league mechanic, just show it off. Ooh, we got a golden one. So show this off. Do that. I should Warcry, but I'm bad. Bull's Rage to make it clean, and there it's done. Map done. Okay, and then we get I don't know what I have. What do I have for? Nothing. Okay, we'll go Flamefill, I guess. Actually, I should have went Embers. Okay, so that's a little showcase of how the build maps. Concurrently, well, I upped my damage by quite a bit since I last tried, but when I last tried on this character to kill a T7 Plane Watcher, it was killable. I didn't die, but it took a little longer than I would personally like. Some people might be fine with it, some people might not, but since I've upped my damage, I think it's probably fine now to do T7 Plane Watchers, and I don't know about T7 Traveler yet, because I don't have enough T7 maps to get to them because I have a map shortage. But let's talk a little bit. Let's do an overview of the hero trait. So the hero trait is Seething Spirit. I believe it's called... Oh, Seething Silhouette. Okay. What does Seething Silhouette do? So it has a 1-second interval, which I guess is like a cooldown. And when you are hit, it has a chance to come and copy your melee attack. Actually, whenever it comes out, it copies your main melee attack. So that in itself is a pretty strong mechanic. But additionally, while you have rage, for every 2 points of range, it has a 1% chance for it to appear on that 1-second interval. So if you have, say, 100 rage, it has, You know, if you have at least 50 rage, it has a 100% chance to come out and do something. So that's pretty cool. So then let's go over, this just gives you it at level 13. Level 32, I think this is currently the better option because it interacts, it has a really good synergy with 50. The 50 talent, which is 1% chance to deal double damage every 6 points of rage you have, which gives you a lot of double damage chance. The reason that's good is because if the Seething Spirit deals double damage, it will launch an additional attack. And you get 50% additional Seething Spirit damage. Your Seething Spirit will always be doing more damage than your attack, so you want it to come out as much as possible. And this also gives you 0.4 second appearing interval, which means it takes it from 1 second to 0.6 seconds, which is very good. This one, I'm not sure exactly. This is like if you don't want to enter Berserk, and you're just triggering when you're taking damage, because when you're not in Berserk, it can come out when you take damage, but it won't come out when you deal damage. You have to be in Berserk for it to come out when you deal damage. So I'm not sure about that one. This is gain rage if it uses a skill while it's not active. I don't know about that. I might try this one a little bit, boiling anger, because it might ramp you a little bit harder, and it also gets appearing interval, which means you might be able to spam it a bit more once you're actually in Berserk. But I'm currently using this because it's a lot of additional damage because you're gaining rage with attack speed so fast and losing it so fast. So this really does stack up to, it stacks up to 20 times, and it has 2 effects each. So it's very good. And then for the last one, for the last level 80 talent, now the level 80 talent is what really makes the build feel good to play, the character feel good to play, because now you enter Berserk automatically. Before this, you have to manually hit your Berserk. So it's like, it's kind of like, I have another button to hit. This time it's nope, just hit your attack key. You will build your rage. You will go into Berserk. You'll lose your rage. That's basically how it works. That's all it does, and it's very comfy. This one, I'm not sure. It fixes your max res, but it gives you life per overcapped resist. I don't know about split form, but maybe it has potential. I haven't built around split form yet, but that's basically my thoughts currently. It's one of those heroes that until level 80, it's kind of awkward. It's like an awkward build, or awkward character to play. And as for relics, I might as well go over these now. I'm using this adds 10 to 16 physical damage to Seething Spirit's attacks for every 9 points of rage you have. I am stacking rage on my my memories. So since the Seething Spirit always does more damage, and we're converting all fizz to fire, this is pretty good. Pretty good. Max rage here and crit damage. Max rage here and attack speed. And I have weapon damage and crit damage here, but I could put a rage one on. Do I have a rage one? Yeah, maybe I should. Alright, so let's move on to the gear for the Flame Slash character. Right now, it's just very basic gear. I don't even have strength on my chest. I'm only at 1,050 strength right now. It's not that good. I'm using a Last Words of Chaos. This is probably my most expensive unique that I'm running right now. It's about 8 FE. I think I paid around that much for it. Actually, the Dragon Breath is... Oh, no, it went down. Okay. So the Dragon Breath, combined with the Boots of Sin Fire. Boots of Sin Fire is like a 1 FE item, I think. It's like very cheap, yeah. It makes you immune to Ignite and gives you additional damage. It's a really strong wording against ignited enemies. So we are igniting right now, and we're getting a bonus from that. As well as wearing a chest that gives us a good amount of defense. Eventually we have to replace this chest with a strength chest that has strength on it and has some fizz to Ellie, maybe explode. I'm not sure I'm feeling about it, but we'll get something going there. Here we have a really bad really bad necklace that just has cold res and a little bit of strength on it. I need to get going on that and figure out what I want. Here we have some gloves. They have T1 max life, erosion res, lightning res, strength, not that much, and then just added to attacks. Eventually I want to use the unique gloves, the Demon Slayers, but they're like 80 FE, and I don't have that right now. And I'm waiting until I replace... Once I replace my chest, I can replace my boots, and I want to replace my helmet. So the gloves will come last. And before I do any of that, I want to finish my weapons. So the belt. This belt's pretty nice. 77, it gives you physical attacks, gives you life regain, gives you erosion res, and you get this rotating buff every 8 seconds. For 4 seconds, you get 40% skill radius, which affects Flame Slash, which can give you multiple, lines out that can stack up the damage, and you get minus 5% additional physical damage taken, which means you are tankier. So it's nice. Rain, I'm just running, I don't know, like added damage, life, resistance, strength. I didn't go for a big strength roll. Then we have this axe is currently in development. It's good enough to use, though. 84 strength, crit damage. We're rolling for per 12 right now on our rolling numbers, and we have T1 Gear Fizz, but eventually this will be replaced by the Ominous, I believe. And then we have a hammer that is not doing physical damage per strength, but fire damage per strength. And it's okay. It has strength, attack speed, critical rating, and another added fire. And eventually I'm going to replace this with another axe that is going to be a copy of this axe, except maybe I'll put attack speed or something on it to make it a little bit better. So that is currently the gear of this Seething Spirit character that is right now, pretty comfortably doing T7. Let's talk about the skill real quick. As usual, skills, I am sort of going back and forth. I actually am very comfortable with this setup, and I like it. Raging Slash, of course. Steamroll for the radius. Even though it reduces your attack speed, you kind of want chunkier hits. Your Seething Spirit does really chunky hits, so I'm not worried too much about reducing the attack speed. I would rather get, my crit. And then we have Mark, which is giving us critical damage and additional damage. I'm running it instead of crit damage. I think it's fine having a more consistent crit and this adding some crit damage. I think it's pretty good. And then attack focus, which just is a double whammy of crit rating and additional damage, and we like that. Bull's Rage, of course. I just got to the point where I could sustain this because I will talk about the talents in a minute, but the previous talents, you can't really run everything that you would want to run on your life reservation because then you don't get bonuses from Blood Striker, if you're running Blood Striker, which I'm not, but a lot of people are running Blood Striker, and I think you just gimp your character if you do that. Leap attack, we have regular leap attack with Harden. Harden, very important. It gives DR, 25% DR, pretty good. War Cry, I love the War Cry. I stick with it. Eventually, we want a belt, probably, to replace that giant belt with a instant War Cry belt, but this is just, powerful cooldown, Lion's Roar. It adds a ton of damage and the steep strike chance as well. For our restoration, I'm a big fan of Resurrection Warcry. We have cooldown reduction on it, Berserk for more crit, and Residues, which means we can spam it off cooldown because that healing will stay on our character, even if we're at full life. Then I have an auto defense with Frost Shield and Magical Source with Seal Conversion, sealing life. I have a Fearless, a Flame Imbue, and a Summon Flame Spirit for the crit. Once again, opting for a crit and bigger, more consistent crit than attack speed from the Thunder Spirit and Fearless is just way too good to pass up. And then we have a Curse on hit with Scorch. Big note, on a lot of the builds I'm seeing, people are not even using Scorch, which is insane. They probably don't understand what it does because they think, oh, it's just reducing fire res. Scorch does not reduce fire res. It makes them take additional fire damage. So it's great. Even if you're ignoring fire res, you want Scorch. Scorch is amazing, and we have Abysmal Hatred to increase the curse effect. Let's go over the talents, which I think are the most they're the most deviated part of the build. Most people that I see playing the build right now are going God of Might, Blood Striker, not the Brave, and then they're going Warlord. I think this is not very good. I think, and they're stacking like Tenacity, and they're changing it into attack speed and skill radius. I think that's a powerful setup, but you're sacrificing the DR for this buff that I think is outweighed by what we gain from these different talents. So we're running Burnout for the 30% additional fire damage, and of course we're ignoring fire resistance. I'll do Slow Pan damage, getting the strength here, and the chance to deal double damage and the percent strength. And that's about it. And we have the conversion here to get full conversion. And we're skipping this because we're spamming our attack quite a bit. So it's 20% additional. It's like, I don't know. And then we go to the Brave. I'll do a slope. I'll do the main ones first. So first we're running chance to inflict paralysis. Paralysis is if you're from PoE, it's like a 10% shock effect. So you're always inflicting a 10% shock effect, and you're getting 50% critical strike damage against these paralyzed enemies. That is great. And just a side note on Resolve, when I was doing the Tenacity thing and converting, I found it was better just to not convert it into the Sacrifice and just, do this instead and just get more damage when I was experimenting around. But I think this is even better for the damage. Because we get DR from the Resurrection Warcry. The second Warcry that we run gives us DR. Harden gives us DR. We're fairly formidable. And then I'll do a Pan. Taking life. Crit. Regain. Very good. Added Fizz to weapons. Beautiful. Here we're taking reduced physical damage taken. It's very nice. And what we're working on now is gaining up to this defense from chest armor and chance to gain double armor, which will increase our Fizz reduction a lot. Up here we're getting attack damage, chance to multi-strike, and I didn't talk about the second talent, but we have increasing damage while dual wielding. That's basically the same effect from the skill gem. And then we're running this 120% chance to multi-strike when an elite is nearby. This basically means, to put this into context, right? When we are fighting a yellow or boss monster, or a plane watcher, or whatever, we are 7 linked on our main skill, because we're getting the 16% increase from the tree, and we're getting this 120% multi-strike chance, which is roughly the multi-strike chance you're getting from the gem. You're not getting the 2% additional damage, but you are getting the extra hits and the increasing damage from the extra hits. So it's effectively, and those effects can steep strike, of course. So it's effectively like having a 7 link. It's very strong. I like it. I think it's pretty good. I think Formless is pretty competitive if you're using the Warcries, though. The Warcry effect does not affect your restoration, but it does affect your DR, and it does affect the amount of damage you're getting from Fearless. So I think this is also a good choice. If you don't want to multi-strike at all, I think that's a way to play. And then we went Ronin instead of Warlord. Why do we go Ronin instead of Warlord? First, we get Sprinkle, which means we have a chance to get 80% skill radius, which gives us which is a lot. Like, we want that skill radius. And we have a permanent 18% additional melee damage. That is good, of course. Then, since we are a strength stacking build and we're getting most of our damage from added strength, Falling Leaves is insane. How this works is that you're getting 30% additional damage for weapons minus. So the gear physical and the gear is minus. You still want that on your weapons, but what really matters is that this is not affecting that added flat damage. It's not affecting it. But this 60% additional attack damage is affecting all that flat damage from like your gloves and your rain, but also all that flat damage from your stats from the stat stacking mod. So that is excellent. It really provides way more damage than Warlord, because Warlord is only 40% at the very center of the attack, and you only get increased damage from Rock, the first one. So you only get 15% increased damage from Rock. Increase is not that good. I'd rather have the 18% additional and no stacks, and then get a ton of value out of Falling Leaves. I'll do a slow pan here. Slow pan here. Get your crit rating. And I got minus skill cost as well. Just makes things nice. Radius is good. Got melee skill radius. Get some life regain. I like having a lot of it. And then here we have a very great talent selection at the last row. First we have stats, which we're stat stacking build. We love giving a lot of strength. We get melee damage. We get additional damage for weapons, which is good. We like that. And we get 35% chance to obtain secret drive tests. This is really good. And then we're also getting attack speed and weapon attack speed to increase our attack speed. So those are the talents. Like I said, what I see most people doing is they're going this Blood Striker, and then they're running Sacrifice to change the effect from DR to additional attack speed and skill radius, which is fine, but I don't think it outweighs the other thing. And they're also running No Loose Ends, and they're not really low life, so they're not getting that. But if you want to be full life all the time, you get a lot of crit, but then you're not able to reserve and get those bonuses from the curse and the defense. It's just, I think you're trading too much away. And then Warlord, like I said, I think Warlord is a good talent tree. Uh, it's just I don't like Rock. I mean, I just don't like Rock. I think Rock is okay if you have the DR with it, because then you're getting damage and defense at the same time. Uh, but then again, Sweep is pretty good. Wildfire is pretty good. I mean, I feel like this row is very competitive, and it's very hard to make a correct choice, and or hard to know what the correct choice is. And then for here, Airskill Steel up to 40% additional damage to enemies. That means that based on the wording, I think the further away from your center, the less of that percentage you're going to get. So at the very center, 40%, and then as it goes out, maybe it goes like 35, 30%, blah, 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 which means it's inconsistent. I just don't like this. Fallen Leaves is way better. And then you have this. I think True Flame is pretty cool. I like True Flame. It's great clear, but you can get Explode from other sources. Okay, those are the talents. And I think that's it. I do think, unlike the Ignite build, that with the gear, I mean, my gear is so bad right now. Once we get perfect axes and get everything swapped around, like I said, we'll have more strength. We'll have all this stuff. It'll transition into a good T8, efficient T8 guy. But until then, I'll give an update on this video, on this character later. Thanks for watching. 21 fucking minutes, but I had a lot to explain. This has been Problematic Boy. You can find me on twitch.tv/problematicboy. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Feel free to comment.